We just finished talking about traditions, and our next guest recently entered one of her family traditions in a contest. And to her surprise, she walked away with first place for her Platzek. Is it, you say Platzek or?
Platzek.
Platzek, yes. Please welcome Karen Gold of Sloan, New York. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, the recipe is an old family recipe?
Yes, it is. It was my paternal grandmother, Charlotte Gaminsky's recipe. And my mom is the one who then took the recipe and made it from handfuls of this and that and to actual approximate measurements.
Sounds like my mom taking the babka recipe and making it a workable work of art, actually.
Yes. Yeah.
And I tasted the Platzek, and it's very delicious.
Oh, thank you.
And it sort of tastes like a babka.
Yeah, it's a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
One of the things that my mom always said is it's better to have it rise twice, once in the actual bowl and once in the pans, because that gives it a lighter texture.
Oh yes, definitely. So you're you have a Polish background.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So on both sides of your family.
Yeah, both sides. 100%.
Yeah. Do you speak Polish at all?
A little bit. We still talk a little Polish at home.
Oh, that's good. That's very nice. So have you always made this recipe?
Actually, my mom is the one who made it, and I just started baking it about 3 years ago.
And how many did you make this year?
This year, so far, for Christmas, we made 2 batches on Mondays, so we made about 15 Platzeks total.
Oh,
yeah,
lucky family members and friends.
Oh, yes, definitely.
So why don't we just get started, and you can make one for all of us to see.
Okay. What we do is we start out heating up milk in the to about temperature of 110, 115.
Okay. That's all heated.
And since that's done, what we do is we add 2 packages of rapid rise yeast.
Okay.
And we also add 1.5 tablespoons of sugar.
Okay,
and
so
a
little food for the yeast, right?
Yeah, and you want to go ahead and stir that to get the lumps of the yeast out of the milk.
Okay.
And
just let it sit
just let
to
it
proof.
sit to proof about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. It depends on the yeast also.
And here's one that's already proofed, and you can see how nice and bubbly and foamy it is, meaning that it is growing and it will grow.
Right. And what we're going to do is in the bowl, we're going to add 2 cups of flour.
So are you using an all-purpose unbleached?
An all-purpose unbleached flour works better.
Good.
And then we go ahead and we add the yeast mixture into the flour and stir that all together. And you can go ahead and have the honors of doing that.
I will do that for you. Just want to make sure I get everything out. Okay.
And we kind of want to get it to where it's all the milk and the yeast has gone into the flour into a nice little ball, so to speak.
Okay.
What we're going to do in the meantime is, before the yeast rises, we want to take a piece of either parchment or wax paper, and we want to just go ahead and spray it with a cooking spray. And the reason we do that is so that when we cover the bowl to let it go ahead and rise, in case it would stick, it easily comes off of the paper.
Okay.
So you just want to keep that going. While that's rising initially, what we want to do is, in the mixer, we're going to put in 3/4 cup of butter.
Okay.
And you can go ahead and do that.
Slide that in.
Just slide
So
that
room
right in.
temperature, right?
Room temperature.
Okay.
And then we're going to go ahead and to that, we're going to start
Now,
and
do you use
add
regular butter, salted butter?
unsalted butter. We've used margarine as well. And then we're going to add 1 1/4 cup of sugar to that. And we're going to get down to a nice butter and sugar consistency.
So just cream that butter together. That's good.
Right. And while it creams, as it's creaming, we're going to go ahead and add 2 cups of flour. We're then going to add 5 eggs to that. And then we'll continue on.
Oh, so the sponge, which is the rising, is going to be then incorporated into this.
It's correct.
Okay.
And the sponge usually takes about half an hour to an hour, depending on the yeast. And what we do is we go ahead and, once that's all kind of crumbly, we go ahead and add
so this is a very easy
5
dough.
eggs. And we're just going to go ahead and do all that.
Makes a beautiful golden dough.
Add the zest of a half an orange. Okay. And once you've got all that together, at that point, that's where we would incorporate putting the dough hook on. We're going to go ahead.
That looks good and smooth, right?
Right. Yeah.
Don't you love these mixers?
Yeah. My mom, her KitchenAid is 48 years old, which is older than I, so we're still using that.
How does it work? Well,
It works very well. It's
isn't
got a
that
little
great?
kinky sound to it now, but
well, that's the brushes. Oh,
yeah, they
and
need
it's-
to be replaced.
Oh, yeah, you have to sort of have it serviced every now and then. Anything in the whole 48 years, anything go wrong with it?
No, not at all.
Isn't that great? I have my original one, which is not quite that old, but almost, and it's amazing how sturdy and well built these beautiful machines are.
Go ahead and you get that all together. You take the original sponge.
And that should be after how much time?
This is about after an hour.
Oh, so it
And-
really puffs up.
Right. We go ahead, we put the dough hook on, and we add the sponge to it.
Why don't you do that without the? Oh, that's a very this is unusual. This is very different from my mom's babka.
Yeah, it's a little bit different
Yeah.
recipe. And we go ahead and mix that all together, and then we add another 2 cups of flour to it, and we add about a half to 1.5 cups of golden raisins.
Oh.
It just depends on what your likings are.
So we should add the flour.
We should add the flour.
So altogether you have 7, 8,
It's
9.
about 7 cups of flour.
Oh, so-
We put it in a grease bowl, and we let it rise again for another 1.5 to 2.5 hours. Of course, we cover it with the wax paper and again with another towel.
I'm back with award-winning baker Karen Gold and her recipe for a Polish holiday yeast bread called płaczek. And because this recipe bakes more than one płaczek, it would make a fabulous handmade holiday gift.
That's true. Go ahead and put it together.
Okay.
It's we're going to put flour, 2 cups of flour, and 1 cup of sugar. And you just go ahead and 1 stick of butter, unsalted.
Okay.
And you just go ahead and use either a fork or pastry cutter and get it all together like you're doing a pie crust.
Okay.
And in the meantime, what I'm going to do is take the dough that has risen. This is about after 2 hours. And we're going to go ahead and put this in greased pans.
Now, what do you use for the grease? Butter?
Yes, butter we go ahead and use. And we're just going to go ahead. And what you do is you basically evenly divide the dough into the pans. And when I'll just go ahead and do one here right now.
Oh, no, do all of them, because we have all this topping to put on. And you put the topping on.
And you put the topping on afterwards. You divide everything and just put it along here. And you're going to go ahead and take some butter. Usually what we do is take butter in our hand, or we use a margarine, the top, like the container the margarine comes in, or a piece of wax paper, and you just spread a little bit of margarine or butter on top of the
each
actual
loaf?
dough, each loaf. And what that does is that acts as like an adhesive agent and a glue. And we just go ahead and I'll just take some here.
Okay. Oh, and the crumbs are beautiful.
And you just go ahead and spread it in. And what you're doing is evenly dividing the dough into the pan. And then after that, you're going to bake all 3 of them. You're going to add some crumbs first before we bake them.
Yes, here we are.
Okay. And we just go ahead and take your hand and you just sprinkle them on.
So these fluffy crumbs are what really won you the contest, I understand.
Right. And you let this rise in the pan for about 1.5 hours, 2 hours. You want to just go ahead and have it double in size again. And you don't want it to go too much over the pan.
So you don't have to cover it at this point
No.
because of these.
Well, yes, you do.
Oh.
You do cover it one more time.
Okay.
And then you're going to bake it at 325 for 35 to 40
Use all
minutes.
this?
Yeah. You
Oh
can
my
use all of
gosh.
that. Oh, yeah.
Ew, I love it. The crumbs are the best part. I used to eat all the crumbs off the top of my mother's babkas, and she would always come in the kitchen wondering, who ate the crumbs?
Oh, you got a little more
I
there.
love the crumbs.
And
There.
we'll just go ahead and do that. And we put that again with the wax paper and the towel and let that rise. And then this is how the finished product comes out.
Oh, it looks so pretty.
A little golden brown.
Now, do you take them out to give them as gifts, or?
Yeah, we give them as gifts. We do use them for ourselves. And there you go. You can go ahead
Look at
and
this.
have a
A
piece.
very white and beautiful raisin-studded cake, perfect for dipping into your morning coffee.
Oh, yeah. It's wonderful when it's warm
So I'm
with
going to
butter.
eat a piece of. I'm going to eat a piece with all the little crumbs. Well, you mentioned that your mother's 48-year-old mixer needs some new brushes.
Yeah.
Brushes are those little mechanisms on the side, but. Because you're such an avid baker and because you won this fabulous contest, we decided to give you for Christmas a new KitchenAid mixer.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
So that's for you.
Thank you so
Joey
much.
Cola, he'll carry it home for you.
It's the real deal.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
And it has this great attachment for not spilling the flour all over the counter.
Oh, thank you
So there,
so
just,
much.
just put it there. Enjoy your plot check as I will. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.